Going 3-1 on quite a difficult field here at Kessel is really good as well. I mean, we've seen a lot of really big German players and also European players are still in this competition going 4-0 or like 3-1. So it's really great. We've got Heinz on the left-hand side of your screen and also Tobias on the right-hand side of your screen. And once again, let's go into the teams once more. So for Heinz, we've got Regigigas, Kangaskhan, that Mushana, Rayquaza, Perugly, and Groudon.
Perugly, wow, that is another interesting pick here. I mean, it does have a fast fake out, and I've seen some shenanigans with a fast hypnosis under gravity, so potentially that could be something, but I don't see a fast gravity setup Pokemon on his team. He does have the Musharna, and we did see gravity wearing out in the last game, but yeah, I don't think that Musharna could potentially outspeed a Perugly.
Yeah, of course, of course. And then for Tobias, as we mentioned before, he's using quite a traditional Big Six style team, which is Kangaskhan, Smeargle, Salamence, Groudon, Talonflame, and Xerneas. So, I mean, I'm just so interested to see how Heinz is going to play this game. We've got lots of Pokemon which aren't very popular in this metagame being used on his team, and he's obviously been performing very well with them, so he must know how to beat the Big Six with this.
Yeah, I mean, that of course would be like the perfect story, like the underdog coming at us with a Regigigas, a Perugly, beating the Big Six. But in the first game, I mean, of course, also Tobias. It's not just about the team. Tobias is a fantastic player, and he knows how to play to his outs, and yeah, it's just a really good player. Most of the time he would choose rather standard-ish teams, so I'm not too surprised to see him running around with that Groudon and Xerneas core that is just so popular. But yeah, Heinz, I wouldn't count him out.
No, of course not. And I mean, we've got Heinz on your left-hand side of your screen again, and Tobias on the right-hand side. This is round 5?
This is round 5.
Yes, this is round 5 of the Germany National Championships here in Kessel, and we're going to go back into it. We've got as a lead Kangaskhan, Xerneas coming out from Tobias, and a Regigigas Perugly lead.
The crowd is going wild at this one.
And so they should. What is going on?
Oh wow, okay, so Perugly does have the faster fake out, faster than Kangaskhan, so depending on whether Tobias decided to go with the Scrappy or the Inner Focus ability, maybe they already found out in the first game, but I don't think that Perugly made an appearance there. He could try and go for the very, very risky fake out on the Kangaskhan, but maybe he has to take some risks if he wants to take this game.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously Tobias is leading with a very strong Big Six option. He's got the option to fake out if he needs to. He's got the Geomancy option to get a boost on early. But obviously Kangaskhan and Xerneas just put so much pressure with their attacking moves.
Yeah, certainly, especially if that Xerneas is able to set up the Geomancy like it presumably did in the first game, then there's just not too much Heinz can do about it.
And there goes Regigigas leaving the field in favor of Groudon, which will now come in, undergo Primal Reversion, and set up the Desolate Land ability.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the Pokemon on Heinz's team that can take some hits from a boosted Xerneas. But yeah, so he probably feels like he has to start putting himself into a position where he can actually damage the Xerneas. I wouldn't be too surprised if that Regigigas was just like a full supportive set, just to, I don't know, spread some Thunder Waves, yeah, with that Wide Guard I mentioned earlier, but yeah, you have to have something that also deals a lot of damage.
So Kangaskhan Mega Evolving here, and Xerneas using Protect, and a Protect coming out from the Groudon. Let's see who's going to win the fake-out war here.
Yeah, actually he protected the Kangaskhan. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, your people are just so used to just seeing that fake-out and no Protect Kangaskhan set. But yeah, it is something that has picked up a lot of popularity in Japan, just to also use Protect on your Kangaskhan in addition to Fake Out, because they say, yeah, more often than not, you will find yourself in positions where you are like, okay, my opponent will probably just double target my Kangaskhan, expecting it not to have Protect, but then just a single Protect on an unexpected Pokemon can just turn a game around entirely. And while Sucker Punch is really strong in a sense that it can just pick up weakened targets, most players just predict the Sucker Punch. They can either like switch out or go for a status move, and so they value the utility of Protect over the Sucker Punch.
Well, I mean, also like that one Protect. If the opposing trainer is going for a double target onto that Kangaskhan, allows your partner to move.
And we do see an Hypnosis coming out. Wow, but that missed on the Xerneas, unfortunately. Yes.
And a big double edge coming out from Kangaskhan, going onto that Perugly, and it picks up the knockout. So Perugly not really getting the chance to perform too much on this game.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
So Kangaskhan going to take some serious recoil damage there, just leaving it with just about third HP. And a Moonblast coming out from Xerneas onto the Groudon, doing about a third there as well. And there's the Precipice Blades. It's going to hit both Pokemon. Kangaskhan taking incredible amounts of damage, but clinging on.
Wow, didn't expect that to do as much damage, but that Groudon certainly pretty bulky and heavily trained in its super high attack stat. There was an opportunity for Tobias to set up that Geomancy, but instead he wanted to go for the Moonblast just to get off some damage. Not entirely sure how things would have worked out if he went for the Geomancy, which I think, yeah, he would have done a little bit more damage if he did that. But yeah, you never know what will happen if there's the Purugly. Maybe he was also afraid.
Worried about other tricks that could be happening on Heinz's team. So we've now got Kangaskhan hitting the field for Heinz, and there is a possibility of that fake out coming out for him as well.
Yeah, we did see the substitute earlier in
on Groudon.
Yeah, so yeah, Tobias, unlike in the first turn, he can just safely go for the double protect and just avoid the threat of fake out at all. But instead he has to ask himself, what if that Groudon goes for the substitute? Can I deal with that?
Do I want to give it a free substitute if I've got Smeargle in the back?
I don't think so, you know. So, but Heinz, on the other hand, decides to switch out his Groudon here.
Yeah, doesn't want to play any games here. He just goes bring it back in favor of that Regigigas. So a trade, just a full trade after a Precipice Blades. So Regigigas coming back in, and we've got the Mega Evolution now happening for Kangaskhan on Heinz's field. The baby's jumping out of the pouch and will have that Parental Bond ability, which will boost or hit twice and boost the attack damage that he gives.
And there's the Protect on the Kangaskhan coming out once again, and the Fake Out does target that Xerneas.
Yep, so no Geomancy coming out for Tobias, and surviving with a sliver of HP. It'll survive for one more round and be able to get some damage off unless the Sucker Punch comes out. But yeah, good bit of pressure on that fake out.
Yeah, unfortunately for Heinz, his Kangaskhan was not Mega Evolved yet, so there was no chance for him just to go for, say, Return or Double Edge to pick up the KO on the Xerneas. But looking at his team, maybe his Kangaskhan is a little bit slower anyway, since he most likely does have that Trick Room option and also potentially Thunder Wave on that Regigigas as a form of speed control. So he does not need to invest in speed as heavily, but instead can also focus on his defenses.
Yeah. So Regigigas back on the field. We can see if it has any attacking moves or whether it's going to just be a full supportive set, like you said, Marcus. It's just so interesting to see this Pokemon. I have no idea what it's going to do.
And the Sucker Punch fails here. Both Sucker Punch actually fails. Wow.
So, and there goes the Dazzling Gleam from Xerneas. It's going to do big damage to both Regigigas and
a Safeguard coming out from the Regigigas, preparing for a potential Smeargle that could come from the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, both just going for the Sucker Punches here didn't work out for either of them. So yeah, while not too much damage was dealt that turn, yeah, that position just didn't change too much. Potentially, if Tobias has the Smeargle in the back, then maybe that Safeguard can really come in handy though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it looks like Heinz has really thought about that Smeargle matchup, or at least how to deal with status conditions on his Pokemon with that substitute on his Groudon and the Safeguard on his Regigigas. Safeguard, not a move that we're seeing too often in this metagame. It's growing in popularity on certain Pokemon, but it's still like quite a niche pick.
Yeah, Magikarp is a little bit similar in that regard, as it can not only block the Dark Void but also throw it back. So we've seen that a little bit picking up on popularity yet again. But I'm a little bit worried about Heinz since yeah, he has so many slow Pokemon, but no form of speed control at the moment.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if he brought the Mushana in the back. Oh no, he's already revealed all his Pokemon. There's no Mushana option at all. And there's a Gravity coming out from Regigigas.
Yeah, that is another move that I think, like the combination of Wide Guard and Gravity with that, like those stats and the typing, I think that is really something that sets Regigigas apart from anything else. And going by Heinz's face, I think that Moody Boost was not something he wanted to see, but unfortunately I wasn't able to catch that.
Okay, so we've got the Groudon in the back for Heinz. He's got the Gravity set up now, so if he wants to come in and set up some and use some Precipice Blades, he can. But he's basically, Tobias just needs to sort out the Safeguard, and he can get rid of, and he can start putting things to sleep again.
Yeah, that Kangaskhan really didn't do too much since it was around on the field. Yeah, maybe Heinz needed to find himself like a little more, some more targets to deal more damage instead of just, I don't know, awkwardly maneuvering around a little bit with his Regigigas without really accomplishing too much. But yeah, this might be the turn where Heinz is able to finally pick up a KO.
And there's a follow me coming out from Smeargle, just making sure that the attention is moved away from Xerneas while it gets that Geomancy up. So its special attack will rise, its special defense will rise, its speed will rise, but also those colors will rise. Look how beautiful that is.
Yeah, despite the fact that it's so low HP, with that Smeargle and then a potential Kangaskhan coming in from the back, that can definitely be something to still take the game.
And there's
he goes for the power-up punch.
Critical hit with a power-up punch.
That won't be enough.
No.
I think he probably should have gone for, yeah, depending on what he has, the double edge, but even that might have not been enough. And we do see the swagger coming out from that Regigigas. Wow.
Wanting to roll the dice.
How many moves does that thing have?
Yeah, I mean, like, you got the leftovers coming out with Regigigas, slowly healing it back. It's got incredible amounts of bulk on it, but the support moves on Regigigas really putting some pressure onto this Smeargle. I mean, Smeargle usually the one that likes to roll the dice, but swagger coming out from Regigigas kind of throwing it back in his face.
Yeah, we did see swagger coming out, gravity, safeguard. It seems like that Regigigas has a move pool almost as large as Smeargle's.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, it has a very strong position on Heinz's team, with being able to set up that gravity for Primal Groudon, and also the Hypnosis on Perugly, and probably Mushana as well.
Yeah, but then, once again, the lack of speed control, I think he could really, like, win this matchup if he's able to get his Primal Groudon into a position where it can just launch those Precipice Blades in Trick Room. But yeah, if he didn't bring the Mushana, and that way he's not able to set up the Trick Room.
Yeah, so a Protect from Xerneas and the Follow Me coming out from Smeargle.
Another swagger.
And there's another swagger. So a lot of attack bonuses going on to that Smeargle, but the confusion will last a couple of turns longer now.
Yeah, I think Tobias would have preferred it if that Smeargle went down.
Yep.
So he went for the Protect and Follow Me play. However, yeah, in the end, that didn't happen. And now, depending on whether that Smeargle is going to hit itself in confusion, Kangaskhan has a chance to take out the Xerneas with a Sucker Punch, for example.
So we'll have to see how Smeargle can deal with the dice rolls against it. I mean, usually, usually Smeargle is the one putting pressure on the opponent with those Dark Void coin flips that we have. But this swagger could be the way that Heinz gets back into this game.
Yeah, I'm still looking for an opportunity for Heinz to somehow get his Groudon into position, but it just seems so difficult. As Regigigas has really been sitting there for quite a bit now, as the Xerneas opts to go for the double protect. Yeah, he wanted to avoid that Sucker Punch.
And here it goes. Can it get past the confusion? No, it can't. Does boosted attack damage, but still not going to be enough to knock itself out, and it's just stuck on the field.
Yeah, it will still be on the field. Even more.
Hey!
And the swagger on his own Kangaskhan with the safeguard. Wow. I didn't see that coming.
So we have a boosted Xerneas, we have a boosted Smeargle, and now we have a boosted Kangaskhan.
Yeah, only the Regigigas is missing, but I think Slow Start will run out at some point.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, the obviously the Kangaskhan picked up the power punch
and there
boost
it is.
as well.
Slow Start runs out. Yeah.
So this is an interesting turn right here.
Yeah, this is certainly not something I've seen since this format was around. I mean, Safeguard and Swagger was a combination that was so popular back in the day in 2012 and 2013, but...
and 2014, it was used early on with Meowstic. There's a lot of people using that as well, but
that's true.
We've got a lot of boosted Pokemon on the side.
And the Wide Guard coming out, so I think now we finally saw all of the moves from Regigigas here.
And here comes, can it get through the confusion?
It can,
and
the Safeguard is gone. Yeah, it got a speed boost earlier, so depending on how that Kangaskhan and the Smeargle are trained.
So there's getting a lot of stick on Tobias's end from the crowd out here in Germany. Smeargle doing what Smeargle does best, outspeeding after a couple of moody boosts and putting Pokemon to sleep.
Yeah, but then again, Heinz set up the gravity for his nemesis here, and you have to respect the Dark Void.
No, of course you do. So the Safeguard running out at the wrong time, and now Xerneas is free to deal some massive damage.
Yeah, really unfortunate positioning here for Heinz in the end. Yeah, just his Regigigas just not doing anything. Also his Kangaskhan, both of them, they were around for so long, those two normal types, but he just wasn't able to find positions where he could just deal damage.
And there goes the Follow Me from Smeargle, going to attract all the attention on the field. If Kangaskhan's going to... that's a shame.
He was hoping for the one-turn wake-up and hoping that the Smeargle would hit itself in confusion. But Kangaskhan actually able to hang in there. Yeah.
This game is ridiculous.
You know, actually, since we're also like pretty close to timer, maybe Yeah, maybe not.
No,
but maybe
no.
there could be a chance for him to just get 2 knockouts with like Sucker Punch and some confusion luck. And then he could be able to just barely take this game on timer, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see that.
No. So once again, we have a boosted Kangaskhan after Power-Up Punch and a Swagger from its partner Pokemon Regigigas. We have a Geomancy boosted Xerneas, and we've got an incredibly Moody boosted, but also Swagger boosted Smeargle on the field. It's a bit crazy over here.
Definitely. So Heinz actually withdrawing his Kangaskhan right here in favor of his Groudon. Potentially hoping for some more luck, maybe get the Wake Up and that Wide Guard, but Smeargle is not confused anymore and can go for the Follow Me.
Yep, so Smeargle once again drawing all the attention away from Xerneas, and Xerneas is just going to launch a Dazzling Gleam. It's going to do lots of damage. Regigigas surviving with 1 HP!
Wow. Yeah.
This game is crazy. The crowd are going wild.
Yeah, so Regigigas woke up there after hanging in there with 1 HP from the Dazzling Gleam from Xerneas, but it missed the Swagger on the Smeargle.
Oh, yay. If you're Heinz at this point, like, you must be super impressed with the survivability of your Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he knew, but everybody else is definitely, like, super impressed by how well that Regigigas has been doing this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, the board position is just not good for him. Like, he's obviously trained his Pokemon to be extremely bulky and survivable. And we've got the Wide Guard coming out from Regigigas now, protecting from any sort of Dazzling Gleam. Ooh, and there it is. There's a Protect, that's good. So we've got the Dark Void. Yeah. So he's kind of pinned there a little bit. So he may have... Oh! Wow.
What? If he went for Precipice Blades, he could have won on timer.
It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
He could have won on timer if he went for Precipice Blades.
Oh, but the Xerneas now has gone down.
The Xerneas is done.
What is going on?
He will probably not get himself like another turn of attacks, but yeah, this is
if Tobias slips up, if Tobias slips up here, then he might be able to, but I just can't see it happening at all.
Yeah, we've seen it before. The timer is running out. 5 seconds, 4, and then it's 3 Pokemon apiece. I'm not entirely sure how that could happen with that Regigigas and Kangaskhan not doing anything, but yeah, in the end, it's all up to who has more HP percentage of their total team. And yeah, we will find out in a bit that Regigigas and the Kangaskhan, as well as Groudon and Smeargle, all of them are super hurt.
Yep,
so let's figure it out. Toby won. Yeah, in the end, he still had a healthy Pokemon in the back.
So Tobias is the winner of your round 5.
If he went for Precipice Blades, he could have won that game.
It's crazy.
I can't believe it.
I mean, like...
Matthias S is one of those people who can just blast through Swiss. I don't think I've ever seen a tournament where he doesn't top cut.
Yeah, he's a super consistent player, multiple top cuts at national tournaments. Yeah, I think he attended Worlds the past 3 years, and those were like the years where he like really practiced a lot. And yeah, he's coming back. I think he changed up his team from the UK Nationals a little bit. He's added the Crobat in favor of what I think was a Togekiss.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, both flying types, but they're doing a little bit of a different, like they're fulfilling a different role on the team. So I'm interested in seeing how this will all come together.
Yes, well, Togekiss was certainly an interesting choice on the team he had before, because Togekiss is usually something you see more on Rayquaza and Kyogre teams, and he was running this on the dual primal team, which is what he's running today.
Yeah.
Crobat seems to be a bit more of a fit because it gets a Tailwind, just like Togekiss does, but it does resist the strong attacks that Xerneas can throw out.
Definitely, but yeah, I don't know. We're talking about interesting choices, like a Crobat over a Togekiss on Matthias' team, and then you check out Lajos' team and you see, you see Scrafty, Gothita, Mawile.
Yeah, it's just one massive, really good choice.
Yeah.
Really interesting choice. That Gothitelle, in my opinion, is a thing of beauty, because that's just genius. Heal, Pulse, and Eruption.
Yeah, definitely.
That is.
Yeah, he can disrupt his opponent's options to deal damage with that dual Intimidate Pokemon. He does have that Heal Pulse to heal up his Groudon and so on, and we've seen it on stream before, so yeah. Looking forward to seeing how this will come together against Matthias' team, and I do think, looking at the team preview, yeah, Groudon with Gothitelle next to it, that is a threat to Matthias' team, don't you think so?
Yes, I mean, Matthias does have the Ferrothorn for the Trick Room, but it really does not want to face off against a Groudon that is going to be throwing out full-powered eruptions.
Yeah, when you're thinking about Ferrothorn as you check to ground, then you know, maybe that could be difficult. But then again, of course, Matthias does his option to prevent the Trick Room from going up. We did see that Lajos opted to go for a leftovers on his Gothitelle instead of a potential like Mental Herb. So yeah, that Grobit, presumably carrying Taunt, could be able to just stop Lajos' tricks.
Yes, the Gothitelle is the #1 player for Lajos right now, because it's the one that sets up the Trick Room. It's got the Heal Pulse, it's got other really cool stuff as well, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's really important for Lajos to lock down his opponent's Kyogre as soon as possible, because looking at his team, he doesn't really have a great answer to Kyogre at all. His only answer is just to trap it in, set up the Sun with his Groudon, and then go from there. But if he's not able to do that, then yeah, that could be really troublesome for him.
Yes, and even if it is taunted, just a Shadow Tag ability on its own does help a lot. But here we see Crobat and Groudon from Matthias Suchodolski's end, and from Lajos we have the Ho-Oh and we have the Gothitelle.
Wow, making an appearance here. I am so glad to see it featured on the stream. Yeah, right at the very beginning we were talking about how Ho-Oh could make an appearance on stream at some point, as it could have a decent match against all of those Xerneas Groudon teams that are floating around here, but now yeah, we have it, and it looks beautiful.
It looks very, very nice with that color scheme. The Sacred Fire is going to be doing a lot of damage in the sunlight.
Yeah, and it's not like Matthias can just switch out, say, into his Kyogre. And so yeah, that Crobat will probably yeah, catch that Sacred Fire. An interesting thing, by the way, that I'm not entirely sure about seeing how Matthias led here in this game, but there is a potential that his Cresselia does have the skill swap. So that could be something to turn a game around by skill swapping Shadow Tag off of his opponent's Gothitelle, and yeah, turning things a little bit around. But yeah, that could be something. Maybe his Cresselia just does not have skill swap.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably something Lajos has been thinking about when making a Trick Room team. Trick Room is, especially against a Cresselia, Cresselia is very likely to have skill swap and be able to reset the weather, especially in a double primal team.
Yes, but he does have that Scrafty, we've mentioned before, with a potential knockoff, so yeah, he can contest a potential Cresselia, but yeah, we don't even see Cresselia on the field, so yeah, let's see this.
We see a Sacred Fire onto the Crobat after it went for the Super Fang on the Gothitelle, recognizing the Gothitelle threat. We do see the burn from the Sacred Fire. It does have a 50% chance to burn, but the Lumberry... Oh,
it's actually the Citrus Berry.
Wished he had a Lumberry at this point, I bet Matthias does. But we get a big, big eruption off, and the Ho is not going to take much damage, and the Gothitelle was protecting, so excellent play by Lajos.
Yeah, but I also do like the fact that Matthias just went with his Groudon, and I mean, of course, he can just switch out, but just looking at Lajos' team, there's also not too much that can take that eruption. I mean, Ho-Oh, looking at the damage, okay, it can certainly take an eruption, but what does it do back? It can go for potentially Brave Bird or Sacred Fire, depending on what moveset he has, but yeah, that also just won't deal too much damage to Groudon, and yeah, multiple eruptions, especially like in combination with that Super Fang. Just Super Fang and eruption can probably just take down the Gothitelle right there.
Yeah, the Gothitelle, it was recognized as a threat, so maybe Lajos can also switch it out.
Yeah, but seeing, like looking at his team, he potentially could switch into his Scrafty, but yeah, I do think even then Super Fang and Eruption should be able to get the KO here. So
we see the Super Fang onto the Gothitelle takes that, and we see the Brave Bird from the Ho onto the Groudon, reducing the damage done by Eruption. It does about 30%, and we see a Eruption from Groudon. Is it going to knock out the Gothitelle? It's going to be very, very tight. It
tanks on. Wow.
It was that was a critical hit on the Ho and a heal pulse back onto the Ho, and the Ho recovers all that damage that both Eruptions and the recall from the Brave Bird did.
Wow, so yeah, that was definitely the play Lajos needed to make there. Go for the damage on Groudon, make sure that Eruption cannot pick up the KO on Gothitelle, but instead of setting up the Trick Room, he opted to go for a heal pulse here.
Yeah, that's very interesting indeed, especially because the Tailwind, it might be a threat. But Matthias might not want to go for the Tailwind, and Super Fang is a very good option at this point as well. We don't know what sort of rock type move this Groudon may have.
Yeah, knowing Lajos, he would also like test his teams a lot in practice against different matchups. So I'm pretty sure that he knows what he's doing in this specific matchup, and he thinks that he does not need the Trick Room setup here. So yeah, maybe he does have that Salamence and the Groudon in the back, for example, and not the Scrafty and Mawile.
Yes, and this Gothitelle is at very low health, so it might want to stick around the field for a little bit. We do see the Protect from the Groudon, and we see a Protect from the Gothitelle, obviously fearing an attack from either of these Pokemon. And we do see this Super Fang onto the Ho-Oh, predicting the Protect from the Gothitelle, and from the Ho-Oh we get a Tailwind in return.
The Tailwind, wow. So that is another form of speed control that Lajos apparently has available to him. So, depending on how all of those Pokemon are trained, now he could go for something like an attack on the Crobat to knock it out, and then also a heal pause to heal his Ho-Oh back up once again.
Yes, it'll be interesting to know how this Gothitelle was trained in speed, because it might be able to outspeed that Groudon if it's a Trick Room Groudon.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, then that would be really bad though, because then Groudon could go ahead and take out the Gothitelle, and then Lajos' chances of winning this one would be very slim. But if he gets his Ho-Oh back up into position once again, I mean, Matthias must feel at this point, he's like, okay, so I went for the Eruption and Super Fang and so on, but that Ho-Oh can still be at full health after this turn.
Yes, and we do see the Brave Bird from the Ho-Oh again. I believe that was targeting the Groudon, and no, it was targeting the Crobat, and the Crobat is going to faint, not allowing Matthias to get up his own Tailwind, and we see the Heal Pulse from the Gothitelle healing up the Ho-Oh yet again, and this Gothitelle is now on the threat from the Flamethrower from the Groudon, and we do see it pick up the KO.
So after all the work that Matthias put in, yeah, like with that lead position, Lajos was able to set up Tailwind, and he traded Gothitelle for the Crobat and a little bit of health on the ground. So I actually think that was the trade is actually favoring Lajos a little bit, especially considering that he was able to set up the Tailwind, but now he needs to make this turns count. And if Matthias is able to set his Kyogre into a position where it is free to, say, go for a Water Spout, then I don't think Lajos has anything to offer to that.
Again, with the Tailwind, it'll be interesting to see what Lajos has trained his Mawile to do.
Yeah, certainly. I would probably expect it to outspeed those Kyogres, or those Primals, since Matthias' team potentially also features a Trick Room option. However, then again, Matthias also does have the Tailwind option available to him. So yeah, you never know how these Pokemon are trained. But yeah, Lajos needed to switch in his other Pokemon. I'm expecting Groudon to be the last Pokemon, but then the rain would have been up, and Lajos really couldn't have done too much. But now he has the option available to him to just switch out into his Groudon and cancel out the rain.
Yes, and although last time in Liverpool we did see this Groudon run a odd mixed set with on this double primal team, Matthias might have opted to go right for the Earth Power again, but we do see the Mawile switch out, preserving the Intimidate for later, and we do see the Groudon switching. I feel that's maybe a little bit dangerous because of the Earth Power from the opposing Groudon. Yeah,
definitely a threat, but I think he probably needs to go for that, because Ho-Oh is like the one Pokemon on his team that can potentially take on multiple Pokemon on Matthias' team. So yeah, catching a Water-type attack would be really bad for him now.
Very true, and we do see the Desolate Land from the Groudon, making so that the water moves will just simply evaporate. And we see a switch out from Matthias' own Groudon into into the Kangaskhan. That puts Matthias in a very good position.
Protect potentially? Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
So good maneuvering by Matthias. He brings out his Fake Out Pokemon, and unless Lajos called this switch, he actually went for the Brave Bird. Sacred Fire could have been really brutal here though.
Yeah, Sacred Fire could have done a lot of work, especially if there was a burn.
Yeah, that could have ended the game right there, thinking about it again, since then, yeah, the sun would have been enforced to be up for the entirety of the battle, and then that Ho-Oh, yeah, could have taken the win. But now, yeah, seeing it as it is, right now that is still a win condition though for Lajos. He just needs to put himself into a position where the sun is up, and then Ho-Oh can just, yeah, do all the work.
Either way, I think this Kangaskhan is on the threat, because although it does have the Fake Out, both of Lajos' Pokemon can knock it out this turn.
Yeah, certainly. So I do think Kyogre has to come back. Yeah, if like he probably does not want to switch around anymore. He wants to deal some damage, but he needs the rain to be up for that. And so yeah, he has to switch back into his Groudon.
Yes, and I believe a Fake Out target onto Lajos' own Groudon possibly might be the better play to protect from any sort of Precipice Blades. And we do see the Fake Out onto the Groudon, and Ho-Oh is now free to go for a move onto this Kangaskhan itself, potentially another Brave Bird. Yes, we do see another Brave Bird. So maybe, no, we did see Sacred Fire earlier, and it's a Brave Bird onto the Groudon,
actually. Huh, okay. So he could have knocked out that Kangaskhan Khan, and then Matthias would have been forced to switch in his Kyogre, so then Lajos could have called back his Groudon and bring it out back again. But maybe there is a chance that this Ho-Oh does not carry Protect, because then, yeah, even with all that maneuvering, he wouldn't have been able to protect it from a potential Water Spout. So, maybe that is something.
Yes, I think it's important to note too that Tailwind also ran out on our side, so maybe you might be considering setting it back up again, but will the Ho-Oh be able to take a double edge or something from the Kangaskhan?
Yeah, that is certainly very interesting. He does have that Mawile in the back, so he could go for a switch and get off an Intimidate, but instead he opts to go for that Protect. Okay, so he actually had Protect.
Yeah, so he protects the Ho-Oh, and the double edge goes into the Ho-Oh, doing no damage at all, and we see the Precipice Blades from the Groudon on Matthias' end, and it's just maybe going to pick up, not going to quite pick up the KO on Lajos Groudon, and we see a Precipice Blades in return. It's definitely going to KO that Kangaskhan and that Groudon, and all of a sudden Lajos is in a fantastic position.
Yeah, I do think maybe Lajos was also baiting his opponent into thinking that Ho-Oh did not have Protect. And yeah, so Matthias really committed there, going for the double edge, but yeah, Protect just saves him the game right here, and I do think yeah, Lajos is in a pretty good position to take the game, and that is only the case because he was still able to save one more Pokemon in the back, so that now he is able to switch around and get the Sun back up, because yeah, in Rain that Kyogre could have easily taken on his team now.
Yes, that's very true, and I think Matthias was more worried about the Tailwind being set up again, and then just overcompensated for it. So in this next turn, Lajos is just free to put up his own Tailwind and switch out his Groudon, get the Sun back up, and then Precipice Blades. But maybe that's not quite the play, because Kyogre will be able to take a Precipice Blades. So maybe we're just going to see just straight up moves from all of Lajos' Pokemon from now on.
Yeah, there's still, depending on how these Pokemon are trained, there's still a small window of opportunity for Matthias to come back into this one. Now, depending on whether he can anticipate what Lajos does this turn, the safest move, so to say, for Lajos would probably be to just protect and switch out the Groudon to bring it back out again. But yeah, he protects the Groudon now and just goes for the Brave Bird. But yeah, if that Kyogre was faster than that Ho-Oh, then yeah, just going for Water Spout could have just won him the game right there. But yeah, as it seems, Ho-Oh is trained to outspeed those Kyogres.
And since it outspeeds the Kyogre, it does a lot of damage to it, but the Origin Pulse does come back in return, and now Matthias is in a better position than he was, but Lajos does have that Mawile in the back, and that can be dangerous for Matthias.
So he can just wait a little bit longer and give himself another out to win on the timer, and I think that is what he's doing right now, but also thinking about his next move. I would expect like a Sucker Punch coming out from that Mawile, as well as say Precipice Blades, and yeah, depending on how everything is trained, this could still go either way, but I do think that the advantage is definitely in Lajos' favor.
Yes, I would agree there. Lajos also, I think, cleverly enough, protecting his Groudon so that the Mawile would not be taking the full damage from Origin Pulse's next turn.
Yes, as it is reduced by hitting multiple targets, just as you said. So yeah, Origin Pulse probably not enough to quite pick up the KO on that Mawile, since yeah, Groudon is still there for it to also take that Water type attack.
And yes, I mean, Groudon is not going to be able to take the Origin Pulse at this range. Well, I mean, maybe it's 50-50 there, but a Sucker Punch, if this Kyogre is not very well trained in defense, a Sucker Punch could finish this game as well.
Yeah, but I do think, yeah, it'll be close. I think Kyogre should be able to hang in there and take the Sucker Punch and then hit back with that Origin Pulse, and then yeah, it's still anyone's game. But that just goes to show, I mean, with those two fantastic players, Matthias reached the top 4 at Nationals before here 2 years ago, and he also made multiple top 8 performances at Nationals in the UK, in Germany, and yeah, let's just see how this last turn goes.
Yes, but yeah, Matthias, his best 3 game is also quite strong. Obviously, having regular, very high finishings at regionals and the nationals. But yeah, we do see the Mawile Mega Evolving, and we're going to most likely see a Sucker. We're not going to see a Sucker Punch.
We don't going to see.
So
no Sucker Punch coming out here.
Something tells me this Mawile is trained to take this Origin Pulse, and it is
just barely with 7 HP. But now it has to hit the Play Rough potentially.
We do see the Play Rough.
Okay,
the
wow.
Play Rough connects, and that is a very, very close one there. I think it little bit too down to the wire, cause maybe a Sucker Punch would have been too safe and it would have never picked up a KO in the first place.
I think what Lajos was going for after there is the fact that if Mawile goes for the Sucker Punch and Kyogre is able to hang in there and take it, then the next turn, things on the timer switch around a little bit, as then Matthias would be the one who could just protect on the last turn, then the timer would run out, and depending on who had more percentage HP left in their entire team, Matthias could have won that game on timer. So Lajos, anticipating that, goes for the play rough, and fortunately enough for him, he was able to connect.
Yes, that could have been heartbreaking for Lajos. He's now 1-0 up, but this game is far from over. Matthias can adapt very, very well. These are two fantastic players.
Definitely. Also, I don't know, like knowing Matthias, I think he might be a little bit angry about himself because the matchup against Ho-Oh, like a lot of players, they weren't really even thinking about this matchup because they were like, okay, like those dual primal teams, they have Groudon, they have Kyogre, a lot of Groudons carry rock type attacks. Kyogre, of course, can take on a Ho-Oh if the rain is up. So, I don't think he's too experienced in this matchup. And so he would, like, I don't know, I think to himself, he thinks that he should be the one winning this matchup just based on the teams. But yeah, he's up against Lajos, and he's just such a good player that he was able to put his Ho-Oh into a position where he was able to draw out the game long enough, set up the tailwind, and then take it from there.
Yes, and a repetition of the teams for you guys. Lajos is carrying the Salamence, Ho-Oh, Groudon, Mawile, Scrafty and Gothitelle, while Matthias has Kangaskhan, Groudon, Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Crobat and Cresselia.
Yeah, so now the question is, what has Matthias changed? Of course, he could try to play his Kyogre a little bit more like aggressively, and for example, if he has that skill swap, which we don't know, do something like set up his Cresselia next to his Kyogre and then go for skill swaps to make sure that the rain will be up, because I don't think that there is too much Lajos' team has as an answer for that combination. But then again, seeing that he didn't bring the Cresselia to the first game, maybe he also opted to go for one of those Thunder Wave and Icy Wind Cresselia that has been picking up popularity.
Yes, Alejandro Gomez did not have skill swap on his Cresselia.
He had skill swap, but he did not have the Trick Room.
He did not have the Trick Room, so within the Trick Room itself, I don't know whether setting up Trick Room is actually the call for that Lajos here, because he obviously opted not to go for the Trick Room, going for Tailwind instead.
He revealed the Tailwind on Ho-Oh, which is of course also an interesting piece of information for Matthias, since I'm not sure. Ho-Oh, I'm not sure what you would even expect at this point, since like so few people have used it in recent times that I don't know, there is no like best moveset that you can expect. So maybe he wasn't expecting the Tailwind.
Well, maybe Ho-Oh will pick up in popularity after Lajos uses it.
I would definitely try it out.
Yeah, and we do see a Kangaskhan Groudon lead from Matthias and a Salamence Gothitelle lead from Lajos. And I love Intimidate and Gothitelle leads.
Yeah,
they are just fantastic.
Lajos does as well. Having 3 Pokemon on his team that do have Intimidate as their ability.
Wow.
Yeah, Mawile, Scrafty, and that Salamence. So we didn't see the Salamence in the first series, but now it's making an appearance. And what a perfect lead matchup for Lajos.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. A fake out will be coming out, no doubt about it, but there's only so much Matthias can do about this.
Yeah, I really like this this positioning, or like the team preview game here by Lajos. In the first game, he led with his Ho-Oh, just to exert extra pressure against his opponent's Primal Groudon, or to lure in that Kyogre lead potentially for the next game. But now with that Intimidate, he's able to cut the attack stat for both the Kangaskhan as well as the Groudon, and now he does have those Area 8 boosted Hyper Voices to do a decent amount of damage. And now potentially he could even have Tailwind on that Salamence as well.
Yeah, and after a double protect from Lajos, then Hyper Voice will be a 3 hits KO on both of Matthias' Pokemon, which is not a nice situation for Matthias to be in.
Definitely not. Gothitelle could then set up Trick Room, but yeah, we will see how he opts to go in terms of speed control this game.
Yes, we see the Salamence going for the Mega Evolution, as do we see the Kangaskhan going for the Mega Evolution. The fake out will be coming out into either of these Pokemon, but we do see the protect from the Salamence and presumably also from the Gothitelle.
Yeah, you called it out. Double protect, just a very safe.
Nice and safe. But something Matthias could do right now is to power up punch into his own Pokemon, but the fake out does come out and the eruption goes into both protects.
Yeah.
So a very good position for Lajos because the Kangaskhan can't switch out and they're both intimidated and they can't really do much damage, especially after a Hyper Voice.
Yeah, a potential power up punch on his own ground would have been something that would have changed things up entirely, but yeah, he did not go for that. Maybe he does not have power punch, or he expected his opponent to make an aggressive play. Also, we did see that the substitute on ground in just an earlier round, that is also something that you have to be aware of. But yeah, maybe those two players have trained with each other before or talked about their teams, as I know that they know each other quite well, so maybe they were a little bit aware of what was going on there.
I mean, I don't think Lajos needs to be that cautious of a substitute from the Groudon because the Hyper Voice will still go through the substitute.
Very good point, very good point.
But Gothitelle does come back, interestingly enough. I don't quite understand that play, but we do see a second Intimidate going off, meaning the Kangaskhan and the Groudon will have both of their attack stats halved. And we're probably just going to be seeing a Hyper Voice into both of these Pokemon. Very, very well played by Lajos. He does switch out his Gothitelle, but he does preserve the Shadow tag for later. And we do see a double edge onto, that's a critical hit onto the Scrafty.
No.
That is heartbreaking for Lajos.
Yeah, Lajos is not happy to see that. Yeah, you said it, the double Intimidate, just making sure that Kangaskhan won't be able to deal too much damage, but yeah, with that critical hit and now the Eruption single target will also deal a lot of damage.
That did do a lot more damage than I expected to, especially after it took damage from the Hyper Voice. But Lajos, I don't know what Lajos could do in this position.
Yeah, he could. No, he does have that heal pulse, so maybe he could. I'm not sure if it would be enough to knock out the Kangaskhan with Hyper Voice from here. And a Sucker Punch is also something that you have to be aware of.
Oh, I just thought of a play that Lajos could do. He could protect his Salamence and then set up the Trick Room, so that within the Trick Room the Heal Pulse could heal the Salamence up.
Yes, that is something he could do, but then of course Salamence would be the slowest Pokemon on the field, and then maybe it would be knocked out in the process by, say, Double Edge and Eruption. So
with the Intimidate.
Yeah, Lajos has to really think about how his Salamence is trained, how he expects the Kangaskhan as well as the Groudon that we just saw did so much damage with Eruption, and maybe he could do that if he really values his Salamence that highly. But yeah, the other option would be to just go for Hyper Voice and Trick Room potentially to set himself up for a sweep.
Yes, and the Kangaskhan does faint from the Hyper Voice. We see a Flamethrower from the Groudon. Is it going to not into the Salamence? And we do see the Heal Pulse onto the Salamence. The Salamence is going to heal up again, and it now is fresh and no longer threatened by anything Matthias has.
Yeah, what a good play by Lajos. I do think Matthias was probably anticipating something like that Trick Room play that you recommended. So yeah, maybe he was going for a Flamethrower and Double Edge into that Gothitelle, expecting the Salamence just to protect, and therefore he did not opt to go for that Sucker Punch. He did not attack it into the Salamence because, of course, that was such a risky play by Lajos. If Matthias double targeted into that Salamence, it would have gone down, and Heal Pulse would have gone it wouldn't have done anything, and that probably could have cost him the game. But now Salamence almost back at full HP.
Yes, and this Crobat does come out, and it does have the taunt to prevent the Salamence from being healed up again, but I don't know what Matthias can do in this position.
Yeah, but multiple Hyper Voice should be coming out of that Salamence. Matthias might have his Kyogre in the back, but Lajos probably has his Groudon in the back. So yeah, Lajos really putting himself into a good position.
But we do see the Tailwind for Matthias, hoping that will be his one way out. We do not see a Protect, and we see a Double Edge. Maybe, a Double Edge. Maybe he was fearing that the Hyper Voice would not be enough to knock out the Groudon, but a Double Edge certainly is. And we do see possibly a Trick Room or a Psychic from the Gothitelle, and we do see the Trick Room, which means Lajos' side of the field is going to be moving first, and just fantastically played by Lajos.
Yeah, he was probably expecting that Tailwind to be set up from Matthias, and now, by twisting the dimensions now, I think, Lajos once again, just improved his position on the board even further, and Matthias is down to his last two Pokemon, Kyogre and Crobat, but if Lajos has that Groudon in the back, he should be able to take this game.
Yes, there's not much that Crobat can do offensively to any of Lajos' Pokemon. You can only assume Lajos has got the Primal Groudon in the back to counteract whatever this Kyogre might throw. Yeah,
so Lajos can just go for example, Double Edge into that Kyogre and protect his Gothitelle, or maybe even switch out into his Groudon. just to make sure that he can, yeah, deal a lot of damage before Matthias' Tailwind ends. And Matthias might be in the awkward spot that now he could attempt to stall out his own Tailwind, because now that is hindering him from attacking with his Kyogre, really, since now Lajos' Salamence will outspeed Matthias' Kyogre. So yeah, that could be something to look into, maybe like multiple protects, but yeah, it'll be tough.
I mean, Lajos could read a layer further and then like reverse his own trick from after that. But we do see a Psychic onto the Crobat from the Gothitelle. The Crobat is going to munch away on that Citrus Berry. It's going to heal it up a bit. And we see a Double Edge onto the Kyogre. I think that's a very, very safe play, doing about 50% to Kyogre. And we see an Ice Beam onto the Salamence that is definitely knocking out, but we can only assume that Yosh has the Primal Groudon in the back.
Yeah, unfortunately for Matthias, with the move order, like Kyogre hitting before the Gothitelle, there wasn't really much, like there was no way for him to knock out both of his opponent's Pokemon in that turn. So yeah, he goes ahead and doesn't even try to go for that Super Fang, but instead he taunts that Gothitelle to prevent it from going for a potential Heal Pulse, I would assume, or a Protect. But now, yeah, there is the Groudon, and that should seal up the deal.
Yes, that should seal everything up, really. Groudon can carry the Precipice Blades for the Kyogre, and even Fire Punch is going to knock out the Crobat.
Yeah,
I mean, the Crobat isn't really doing anything offensively, but Matthias' only offensive option right now would be to Super Fang and Ice Beam into the Groudon, but even then it's...
Yeah, I do think just Psychic and Eruption coming out from Lajos should probably enough to take this game, and wow! So, yeah, Matthias was using that dual Primal archetype that so many people praised, and Lajos was able to defeat that with Ho-Oh. So, I think a lot of stuff that people think they know about this format has to be figured out again. Yeah, there he is, really happy with his victory, and moves on to be now at 5 wins and 1 loss. And yeah, that Ho-Oh, man.
There is still a game going on in this very same round of Swiss between...
yeah, Thomas Gabor and Laurin A, two local players from Germany. Both of them played through the entirety of the season. Yeah, Thomas is local to my Premier Challenges, and Laurin is also someone who's gathered a lot of championship points. And yeah, we're jumping right into the second game. Thomas was able to win the first game, and yeah, we once again do see a Ditto on the field, and it looks like it transformed into a Cresselia. Yeah, that's interesting stuff here, definitely.
A Cresselia that doesn't have as many hit points as a normal Cresselia would have, but on Laurin's end of these fields, we have a Groudon, a Kangaskhan, a Xerneas, a Clefairy, a Cresselia, and a Thunderous.
Yeah, once again a Clefairy. I'm really happy to see that, picking up some popularity. I was also recommending Clefairy to him at some point, so maybe...
We do see a full paralysis on this possibly boosted Xerneas, and we see a skill swap, skill-swapping Levitate, I believe that will be onto...
Yeah, onto that Groudon. So Xerneas against Groudon here, that looks like it should be in Laurin's favor, and maybe he will be able to close out this one. Yeah, Fire Punch will take out the Xerneas, so we might be just at the right time to jump into a Game 3.
Yes, a Game 3 would be very, very interesting. This seems to be a little bit of a mirror match with Groudon and Xerneas, with very, very different support Pokemon. Because on Thomas' end we have Groudon, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Ditto, Smeargle, and Talonflame. So Big 6 with Ditto?
Yeah, Ditto. Ditto, we talked about it in Liverpool, where it was able to go all the way into the top 4. It is a Pokemon that, depending on the matchup, it can always do something, like most of the time. Just transforming into one of your opponent's Pokemon, depending on which item you have. Like either you can have the Choice Scarf or potentially the Quick Claw. Yeah, you can just copy one of your opponent's Pokemon, including all the boosts. So say if your opponent has that Xerneas boosted up by Geomancy, and you do have a Choice Scarf Choice Scarf Ditto, you can just switch in, steal all the boost, and then be also boosted by your own Choice Scarf, making it so that you will outspeed it.
Yes, I like Ditto a lot. Unfortunately, Ditto was a little bit overshadowed by the Mandibuzz of that top 4 performance. We have seen a lot of Ditto today, actually. I'm actually quite happy about that. I really like Ditto. But as we see in this position, Groudon is still out. The Ditto is paralyzed, so, I mean, the paralyzed Cresselia isn't...
Yeah, it won't... depending on its item, maybe it's also choice locked into an attack, but we do see a Sword Dance coming out here from that Groudon of Thomas's end.
And we see an Icy Wind onto both of these Pokemon, slowing them down, meaning Laurin will probably be able to outspeed with his own Groudon.
And another Sword Dance, wow. looks like both players, yeah, they kind
They
of
like to dance.
Yeah,
really like to dance.
yeah, that as well, and the gravity, so no choice item or anything. So yeah, both of them probably took a page out of Alejandro's book. Yeah, we're seeing that specific Cresselia and Groudon combination. We've seen it a lot of times, but I think it's the first time that a Ditto helps here.
Yes, but with the speed decrease onto Groudon, unless we're judging by Laurin's Groudon's health, I would say maybe it also took an Icy Wind, so maybe both of these Groudons are at the same speed, so it might depend on the speed tie again.
Yeah, depending on how they're trained, I think whoever is able to land the next Precipice Blades will probably yeah, win the game.
And we see a Protect from Thomas, and Laurin was celebrating there. We see an Icy Wind from Laurin's Cresselia, slowing down the Ditto even more. Meanwhile, what are we going to see from this Groudon? We do see a Fire Punch, so very well predicted from Laurin's end, and it's going to straight up knock out that Ditto. It's very odd to see a Cresselia's health bar fall that quickly.
Yeah, that is definitely true. But yeah, after that Swords Dance, a Fire Punch in the sun, boosted by the fire typing of Groudon, yeah, easily knocks out the Ditto, and now I don't think Thomas is too happy with his position, as Laurin will probably just go for another Icy Wind and then seal up the deal.
Yes, the Icy Wind is probably going to seal it, unless we see a big knockout on these Precipice Blades. And we do see a big knockout on these Precipice Blades because of the gravity and the Sword Stance that both of these Groudons have had. Sword Stance looks like it's picking up a lot of popularity.
Ooh, and this last Pokemon is a Thunderous, and depending on what moves he chose here, yeah, there is a chance that he does not have an attack that can hit his opponent's Groudon, so it might really just come down to which of those Groudon is trained faster.
Yes, and wow, this is a very intense mirror. I mean, like, both of these Groudons do have the Sword Stance. It's going to depend on which one outspeeds the other, unless the gravity can be stalled out by this Thunderous.
And another Protect, but it fails. Groudon just goes for the Precipice Blades again, and it looks like, yeah, we didn't really see that coming, but Thomas, I guess both trainers already figured out that they're, yeah, how they are lined up in terms of speed, so yeah, not what we were expecting, but it looks like, yeah, Thomas is able to take this 2-0, and yeah, we'll put Laurin down to a yeah, record of 4 wins and 2 losses.
And we see a very clever Thunderbolt onto this Groudon, but we do see the Fire Punch, and we see that this Thunderous isn't quite Focus Sash. So with the Sword Stance, the Fire Punch is able to knock out a bulky, possibly Citrus Berry Thunderous, and it's very good performance from Thomas's end.